Hi, and welcome back to the Suburban Chateau. Here I am again at Lucketts Market, but this time it's fall. So excited to be here and to share everything we saw at the amazing Lucketts Market 2025. Well, I was so excited to go back to the Lucketts Market in the amazing Berryville, Virginia, and it's held at the Clark County Fairgrounds. There is always a market in the spring, about the third week of May, and in the third week of October. So I asked some friends to go along with me, Terry and Milani, and we were so excited to go see the Lucketts Market. The Lucketts Market is a combination market. It's not only antiques, but it are some reproduction pieces, lots of crafts, lots of clothing, but it's held on this fairgrounds. So about half the booths are inside the buildings that they use for the fair for the animals, and the other half of the booths are outside. So you can really get a glimpse of these different vendors that you see. Mostly it is antiques. So that's what was exciting us on this trip. What I was looking for this time, blue and white, and especially cobalt blue. I'm looking for cobalt blue glassware because I'm going to redo my kitchen this fall. But we went to see just exactly all of the things that were there. I love to see at Lucketts the way the booths are laid out. I got to see some of my incredible cubist pieces right off the bat. This booth had not only the clear cubist pieces, but they also had the amber cubist in the water glass and the tumbler. And that's not something you see everywhere, but we saw lots of the cubist, and we'll see that in other booths as well. But for me, it's how these booths are laid out. They're so artfully put together. And I don't know how these people learn this stuff. This is something I want to learn for my booth. I always worry that my booth is too stagnant, too sterile. And I really don't, as much as I'm a visual person, it's really hard for me to see how to put things together. But at Lucketts, I just get ideas. I loved this booth. I thought those shelves were so beautifully laid out, and it gave me a lot of ideas. And I'll go back and look at these pictures and videos just to get ideas. This one had definitely a holiday theme, but beautiful combination of furniture and all kinds of Christmas things. Really beautiful. So we headed to some of the outdoor booths, and this particular booth struck me right away. Kind of a farmhouse, shabby chic, mixture of painted, the ironstone, and of course the clothing that kind of fits the whole style. And I was very impressed. I really thought this focal point of her booth was beautiful, and how she kind of mixed some different styles. And I'm trying to get ideas of things I can do differently at my antiques booth. And this was just hundreds and hundreds of different antique booths. This is Northern Virginia, kind of a hub of the antiques market in Virginia. So when we look at all these different vendors, they don't come from too far around this area. But I just love that old world vintage look. And so many of these people just nailed it in terms of presentation. And so it was good for me to look and get ideas. Just about this time, I found something that I wanted to consider purchasing. And ever since I came back from the Rhine River last year, I just do love beautiful pictures of the windmills. I was so struck by Kinderdijk, and I found a beautiful print of a windmill, beautifully framed, for about $25. And so this was my first ever purchase at Lucketts. Last time I went, I was so overwhelmed I couldn't buy anything, but I was really excited. I found something, and I'll share that at the end of the video, but very excited to find a beautiful print. Now, if you've ever watched any of my other videos, you know that I also love long jewelry and things that are more of like a pendant style. I found this beautiful buffalo turquoise piece, black and white with some crystals, and I just couldn't pass. It was really beautiful, and it's something I'm going to be taking on an upcoming trip. Now, we happened upon a vendor that I really liked in the spring market, and I got to see some of the same bags that I had looked at before. I always loved this teal bag. I love it as a market bag, and then I saw this black bag. Again, I saw it in the spring, but it just gives me such ideas. So I definitely thought about that as I was going through the market, and I was thinking, would that be a nice treat for myself for when I do market shopping? When I look back at these videos, I often see things that I did not see when I was filming them. And that's kind of fun too as well. But just getting ideas. Now, this booth had more reproduction style things, not necessarily antiques. And then the next one had all antiques and no reproduction things. But just so many abundant different things. And what I love about Lucketts, it's kind of creativity unleashed. It's every great part of creativity. I absolutely adore the way they have these baskets around that arch. And, you know, I'm sitting there wondering, how did someone think of that and do that? And it just catches your eye. It was just about this time in our trip that we started to drag a little bit. We had seen so many different booths, and we were starting to get hungry. And so we thought we'd saunter over to where the food was, and we got to hear some great bluegrass music.
He was big and bent, gray and old. Looked at him and my blood ran cold, and I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do?"
There are quite a variety of options for lunch or dinner at Lucketts Market. Numerous food trucks set up, even Chick-fil-A. We go to the crab cake folks because we know them and we like their food. every once in a while you find a stall with just so much of one particular item, and that in this case was glassware. And we saw so much glassware at this stall, all kinds of unique things. Of course, we saw my cubist ware in my mom's green color, which was very exciting. They had all the water glasses and the pitcher there. Also I saw a pitcher in the pink, which is what I collect. I have several of those already, but really quite a unique array of glassware in that booth. I'm always looking at like rustic barn pictures. I've never bought one, but they're fun to look at, and they certainly had some there as well. Again, ran into a couple of picnic baskets on this trip, but I'm really holding back. I have quite a few that I need to get after and paint at home. But again, so much fun to find those. One of the things in terms of the China transferware, so many beautiful different pieces at Lucketts. In almost every stall you saw different colors of transferware. I got a great idea when I saw this next booth setup. I love the blue and white plates, but mixed in with milk glass. And I have both of those things in my collection. And I thought when I do my blue and white kitchen changeover, I may include some of my milk glass pieces as well. And I think they'll look really nice. There can never be enough of granny square crochet. And here's a typewriter. I ran into a few of those, always looking for my daughter Sarah. At this point, I ran into another stall that I remembered from the spring market. And in this stall, they have quite an impressive array of vintage tablecloths. Now, if you've watched my show before, you know that sometimes I take the tablecloths and turn them into something else, or I actually use them on a really weekly basis for my drummers. And so I was able to pick up some really great tablecloths reasonably. That's really cute. I passed on the Department 56 church, although it was cute and it really reminded me of the church I grew up in, but I just had no place to store it, so it didn't come home with me. Well, our time is coming to a close at the Lucketts Market. We managed to see just about every single stall at the antique market, and that was pretty exciting. And we're so looking forward to coming back to Lucketts in the spring in May, and hope you'll join us then. Thanks so much for joining me here at the Suburban Chateau. Hope you really enjoyed this year's fall Lucketts 2025 Antiques Market. So here are some of the things I picked up at Lucketts. I did get that handbag that was handmade. I really like that. The buffalo turquoise necklace with the little crystals. Thought that was so cute. A little bit of cobalt blue. I found some vases that I thought were great treasures and some great vintage tablecloths.